So, the real reason why you're depressed, I've seen this with everyone that I have worked with my clients. I'm going to give you a few examples. So, I know the doctors will say, oh, here, let's put you on this medication so that you don't have to feel your feelings anymore because they just don't know what to do. And they'll tell you that it's because there's, a drop in these levels in your brain and this is what's going on. And maybe scientifically that is accurate. But why? Why did that happen in the first place? Now, I know sometimes doctors will even tell you, oh, it's genetic. Okay, so I have seen, so I know that this is true, that if there are those patterns, let's say your mom was depressed and so you're depressed, it is not because of some type of chemical makeup in your body. It is because of the behaviors that you have seen displayed and the things that you've been exposed to in your environment in your life that is causing this. So I work with regression when I work with my clients. So this means that I'm using hypnosis. So I use regression therapy. And so I have my clients feel that feeling. So I would have them feel the feeling of depression. I then have them follow that feeling back to when it very first began. Now, there will be several different things that could come up. So I'm going to give you some very common examples of things that would cause this. So it could be something someone said. So this might be just some comment that somebody said that made you not feel good about yourself. So it could have been something like, oh, you're not a good mom. You're not a good friend. You're, not good at this. You're not good at that. Somebody could have done something that embarrassed you. So now a really common one, and this is so common. So if you're a teacher, listen up because this is so common. It actually just gets me. That some child will have been, when I'll regress them back, it's usually, this is such a common age around grade 4-ish, around that age, that very precious, age, that a teacher will have done something. They may have been disappointed in them. They may have embarrassed them in some way. And so this is not necessarily intentional. But because kids are so sensitive at this age, just the littlest thing they can take and they can interpret any way that they want to, and then they'll hold on to that and they'll keep it forever. I've seen this not only with depression, I've seen this very common with food cravings. So, people come to me for weight loss or things like that. So we take the feeling of the craving rather than the feeling of depression and we follow that back and that will come up. Such a common one. Another thing might not have to do with the teachers. It might have to do with the students. Maybe the students were bullying them or being very, very mean to them and made them feel like an outsider, made them feel like they weren't accepted or that, they weren't good enough. And they will hold on to that and they will keep it forever. You keep these things forever until you heal them. And so most of the people that would come to me aren't even aware. Not only they may possibly be aware that situation happened, but they had no idea that it affected them the way that they did. They might even say like, I don't think I've even thought of that for, however many years, or haven't thought of it since back then, like had no idea that was affecting me so much. So these little things can affect us. And when we're not aware, when we don't know that they're affecting us the way that they are, we just keep going on about life and then we start blaming ourselves. We're like, oh, this is just how I am or whatever it is. Okay, so another example of depression could be, parents treating you really awful. It could be a loss. Sometimes people will start that feeling of depression if they've had a loss, like if they lose a family member, if they lose someone like that, right? Because they feel like, I can't be happy without this person anymore. There's many things, but it has never, not one time ever, come back and been like, oh, it's just some chemical imbalance that I have in my brain and that's the reason why. Never, never, not ever. That would never happen. There's always a why. There's always a why this happened. And so the best thing about this is a good thing. You can fix it. You can fix it. So most of my clients, they only come to me 3 times. If someone is like, oh, I have like horrible depression, I'm like, perfect. Okay, let's book in for 3 times. They'll come 1 week. They'll come a week later. They'll come 2 weeks later. And that's it. Because I know, I've seen it over and over and over hundreds of times, that when you fix the root of the problem goes away. So then you don't need these techniques and these coping mechanisms and all of these, things to just get through it and deal with it, because it's no longer an issue. It's no longer part of the foundation of your life. These things are resolved so quickly and so easily. I think it's just a shame that hypnosis, hypnotherapy, that this is not something that we're taught in schools, that we're not taught about our emotions, and that we can, deal with them, let them go, heal them, because what a valuable thing that would be. I have gone into schools and I have done, presentations for the kids, and they like it, but man, if this was a class that you learned in school, how valuable would that have been to you? So I created, it's called the Inner Freedom Formula, and this is a new program. So normally I just see people for, 3 sessions and then goodbye, because their issues will have been resolved in 3 or less sessions. So now this is completely different. I have an assessment, so it's free. You could go and take a free assessment on my website. Scroll down to the Inner Freedom Formula and just click on the free assessment, and you can take it and you can see where you're at. So the goal with this assessment is to have everything be exactly as it should be. So let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, your depression was at like a 7 or an 8. Well, we want to take that all the way down to a 0. You don't need it. It's not helping you. It's never helped you, and it's not who you are. That's another thing, when my clients are in session with me and I have them see what it's like to now not have that issue that they had before. I say, does this feel more like you? And they always say yes. So sometimes people say, so often, they will say, I've always been this way. I don't ever remember not feeling this way. Well, you might not remember not feeling that way, but you weren't always that way. And therefore, it's not who you are. And when they feel this better way, that old way, how it used to be before that depression or anxiety or whatever it was came on, oh, it's such a relief. There's just this feeling of freedom that you get with it. And that saying, you'll know the truth and the truth will set you free. And so when you're feeling that freedom in your body, it really does feel like freedom. So as we work through the assessment, I'm having people fill this out now so that I can pack a ton into one session, a ton. And so we go down this and it's like, okay, these are the top priorities that we're going to work on today, because I know all these things will probably be tied together. And we work on them, and then you come back a week later, and then we work on whatever's left, and then you come back a week later, and we work on whatever's left, and like that. All of these issues, all of these things that were just like, ew, so awful that you had to deal with, like frustration and anger and sadness and whatever it happens to be, all of a sudden you're just free from them. And this all comes from subconscious healing. They say that up to 90% of what we do in a day is controlled by our subconscious mind. I would beg to differ. I would say it's even higher. I would say absolutely everything, every decision that we make initially starts in our subconscious mind, and the things that we believe and the things that we feel determine those things. You might think that you're consciously making decisions in a day, but have you ever heard someone say, what do you feel like having for supper? Well, feelings are all subconscious. So if you feel like having tacos, you might think, oh, well, I decided to have tacos tonight, but you didn't really, because you had a feeling that told you you needed to eat some tacos, and that was what made your decision for you. So I believe almost everything, if not everything, actually originates and comes from our subconscious mind. And those things that are rooted there in that mind determine our outcomes. The beliefs that we have, if you believe that life is a good and wonderful place to live in, you're going to see proof of that. If you believe the opposite, you're going to see proof of that. So the things that we believe, and we only believe these things, we only believe them because of some root, because of something that happened however long ago. It's from our life experiences that we believe these things. So when you heal your past, then it really does change and heal the future. And when you heal that past, then the expectations that you have of the future change. You don't end up with repeated patterns. You might know someone or be someone who has had relationships in your life that are continually disappointing or even abusive or whatever it happens to be. And these things stem from such a long time ago, and they all have to do with our beliefs and with our expectations. And so when you change these things, these beliefs and these expectations that you had, then you change the future, and then it doesn't need to keep repeating itself because you've learned that lesson, you've grown from it, and then you can create something different for yourself in the future. So this is my talk for today here. So depression, if you have it, there's hope. You don't have to have it forever. You absolutely do not. I don't care what anyone has told you. I don't care what the doctors have told you. I don't care if your parents had it and your grandparents had it and everybody had it. You don't have to have it. You can heal it. You can heal the root because something was said to you, something was done to you, something happened and made you feel a certain way, and you didn't mean to, but you held on to whatever that was. We never mean to hold on to these things, and it creates this samskara, a scar essentially in your heart that just perpetually keeps going forward and keeps creating the same outcome of not feeling good and having that life force energy just sucked out of your body. So when we work together, what we're doing is healing that. We're healing things at the root so that you don't need to cope anymore, so that you actually just can be free from it. And by doing this, it raises up the vibration that you have in your body. It uplifts you. If you were to think about something, that makes you really happy, and you can feel how, it actually uplifts your body. When you're in that state, that higher vibration compared to the lower vibration, when you're in that higher vibration, different things happen to you. Your life circumstance changes. You expect different things, and so you get different things. And your environment changes. Everything about your life just changes and becomes so much better. So that is always the goal. When we're working together, that is what we're working towards, and we achieve it. That's the thing. Hypnosis is so rapid. It is so rapid. Scientifically, it is proven. Dr. Andrew Huberman, Professor Andrew Huberman, did studies, and it has been shown to be the fastest way to change the neural pathways in your brain, the fastest way, because it combines deep rest with deep focus, and that's what you need to change these things. And I know it's true because I've seen it with my own eyes in my office all the time. And it's so rapid and it's so fast, and I'm so confident in knowing that it's going to be that when someone calls me up and they're like, hey, can you help me? I'm like, yes. Definitely, I can definitely help you. I'm going to be able to help you. Come in, we'll work on this, because it's nothing I'm doing. It's what you're doing. It's you that is changing these things in your brain. It is you that is changing these things. I'm just going to guide you, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to hold your hand step by step. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. So if you are watching this, you've probably already done a video or two in the Mental Cleanse series, or you've done other guided hypnosis sessions, but mine are not so much hypnosis sessions because they really are a session that is having you change things. And you're an active participant in this. So it is similar to what we would do in my office, except that I'm regressing you back to your specific issues. Now, very rarely, but this has happened, sometimes someone will regress all the way back to a past life. I know. Who knows? We don't know. Is that real? Is that something that is actually, through your DNA, a memory that you have? Is this something that is just completely made up? It doesn't seem to matter because the results that come from it are the same. Total relief and healing of whatever issue it happened to be. Typically, that does not happen. That may happen much more often in children than it would in adults. But typically, you will be regressed back to somewhere between infancy. This can happen in infancy. I've actually seen this many times, the cry it out method, which I did with my own children, and now I'm like, I don't know that I should have done that, but that was the thing that we did back then. Don't do that. If that's what you do, don't do that. I've seen so many times, I don't even know how many times that I have seen someone regress back to infancy and that they were left alone in their crib and crying. And from that, there's this feeling of, first of all, being afraid, feeling abandoned, feeling like they're not loved. There's so many things that come from that, and I have seen it so many times that it really is an issue. And of course, how are you going to know? If that was the thing that happened to you, how are you going to remember that? I wouldn't remember that. I highly bet that you wouldn't have remembered that. And so you can heal those things. You can heal them when you regress and you go back. So you don't have to come to me for private sessions for that specific issue. There is a regression back to the womb, I believe, and there is a past life one also that is online here that's for free. But anyways, I just want you to know that there's hope. So if you are depressed, if you have severe anxiety or something like that, there is hope. It can be fixed like that. I'm not even joking you. I'm telling you the truth. It really can be fixed so rapidly, but it has to be done through the subconscious mind. You can't talk it out and, figure out why this is happening. And that's good for certain things, but not for this. If you have anxiety or depression, I'm going to tell you the best way to do it is through subconscious healing. It's the fastest, it's the most rapid. You will get results. You'll feel better even after the very first session that you do. And it really can change your life. I know that it changed my life just from the very first session that I ever had done. It had nothing to do with anxiety or depression, but it changed my life. That after that, I had obviously had some type of subconscious block, and it opened up my creativity. I began painting. I had this nervous, weird feeling that I would get if I would talk to my mom on the phone for no reason, had nothing to do with my mom, and then that feeling went away. So there's just so much good that can come from it. Sometimes I have people come to me and they're like, I don't know, so-and-so told me I needed to come to you. I don't know what I need to do though. And I'm like, perfect. And then we just get into a session and whatever it is that you need will come up and it'll be dealt with and it'll be healed. And it's such a relief and it's such a wonderful thing. And it's a very cool experience as well. So if you are interested in that assessment, just to see where you're at, to start thinking about this, go to my website. It's down below. Scroll down on the homepage till you get to the free assessment. Click it, test it out, see where you're at, and then you'll know how you could benefit from hypnosis. And of course, if you haven't already done the Mental Cleanse series, it's here. It's totally free, completely free for you on YouTube, and you can just scroll through. There's 36 videos and you can see which one applies to you and what you want to work on today. So thanks for listening to me, and I will see you guys in the next video.